in New Jersey and Connecticut as we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens. I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Well, joining us now is Jennifer Miller-Wise-Dyke, a former spokesperson for the Bush-Cheney campaign and also for the CIA, and Richard Socarides, former White House special assistant to President Bill Clinton. So, has the president convinced the country that he is on the job here? Let's talk about leadership. Richard, let me start with you. Leadership is, of course, that intangible quality that makes us all want to do better and inspires us. Do you think the president has shown leadership on this issue?
Well, I think he took too long to understand the real magnitude of the disaster that was happening here. And, you know, it's a tricky bit of business. You saw on that tape, that was one of President Bush's most fantastic moments. And, you know, you can't plan moments like that. You saw it was his responding to someone who screamed at him that provoked that moment. But what President Obama needs to do now is act like someone who realizes that we are a country at war. You know, we have not been attacked by a foreign power, but we've been attacked by a British oil company. I mean, we are in the middle of a national emergency of enormous proportion. It is probably the biggest national emergency that he will face as president, or certainly the biggest one he's faced so far, and he has to swing into action. I, for one, think that he needs to still appoint someone, no disrespect meant to Mr. Chad Allen, but I think he needs to appoint someone very senior to take charge of this, perhaps Vice President Joe Biden.
So, Jennifer, would that be the first step in terms of leadership of the president? Is it time for the president to say, I'm appointing a point person who will deal with me every single day? I'm dispatching the tankers that James Carville called for. I'm asking everybody to roll up their sleeves. What is it that he could do at this point that would show leadership?
Well, I think that those are all great ideas. The problem is you can't manufacture leadership. You either are a leader or you're not. That blowhorn moment was spontaneous. That was real. You can't make that, you can't just make that up. And I think what we're seeing right now is what happens when you elect a president because of his soaring rhetoric who frankly does not have any real management experience. You know, leadership that he's shown so far, I can tell you what it's not. Leadership is not dispatching your AG down there to try to distract the people who can actually plug this hole from doing that job by threatening them with criminal lawsuits. Those seem to be his natural reactions to this problem. And so I worry that what we have is someone who actually doesn't know how to manage this issue.
Richard, you know, he's called no drama Obama for a reason. Is there some value to having a president who's calm in a crisis?
Well, he's definitely cooler than we're used to, right? I mean, we're used to our presidents being hot. I remember when I worked for President Clinton, being on a trip with him, and he heard that there was a tornado and a couple of houses destroyed in Alabama, and he practically turned around Air Force One while it was already in the air single-handedly to get down there and console the families that have been hurt. So this president is not like that. He's cooler.
But is that a good thing?
Well, you know, I think it's a good thing when it's measured. And I think that, you know, in areas like foreign policy and areas like leadership around legislative agendas, it's a good thing, and it served him well. I think it's his coolness under fire that helped us get health care reform through, for instance. I think it's his coolness under fire which will help us get financial regulatory reform. But in this moment, he needs to go down there and he needs to show some emotion. You know, I saw last night on Larry King, he said, well, you know, I'm angry about it, but if I yell, it does no good. But I think it does a lot of good. I think we need to see the president angry. I think we need to see the president show some emotion. And like that moment President George Bush had, yes, I think that's what he needs right now.
Jennifer, what do you think? Are we looking for emotion or are we looking for leadership?
I would actually disagree. I think we're looking for leadership. He would not be in this situation right now if he had shown leadership from the beginning. We have the combination of lack of leadership and this cool collectedness. Cool collectedness works really well in a catastrophe like this if you're managing the situation, if you're dispatching the boats, if you've got people there cleaning up the shores, if you've got the sand hills being built, if you are doing what the government can do. So far, we've just seen kind of nothing happen, and we've seen some finger pointing, we've seen other things. So when you couple that with this detachment that he seems to convey when it comes to emotion, I think it's a real problem for him. I think the worst thing that this president could do right now is to suddenly try to manufacture some sort of emotion. I think it'll look phony, it won't look real. What he needs to do is get down to the job of managing the situation and making the American people feel as though they should have some confidence in our government's ability to deal with this.
All right, we're going to have to leave it
Can I just
there.
add that I don't think you can manufacture that emotion? I would agree, but I think people should know that everything that can be done is being done to help the situation.
Richard Socarides, Jennifer Miller-Wise Dyke, thanks so much for coming on with this debate.
Thank you.
All right, this is a Fox News alert. Israel just saying moments ago